These are journalists. What comes to your mind when you think journalist? Do you picture a hardworking individual making sure to put out accurate information, or someone seeking to manipulate the minds of readers to their liking? Both types of these reporters definitely exist, but the credible ones are becoming both appreciated and acknowledged less and less. And one of the biggest reasons for that lives over on Pennsylvania Avenue.
You have your standards, and in my judgment, they're the right standards. But how do you maintain them when the man you're covering isn't dealing with the truth on many occasions?
I know certainly I was raised to think that freedom of the press was one of the core values of the country, one of the core principles of the American Revolution, and enshrined in our Constitution. And I think we're in a moment where that as a value is under attack.
He has First Amendment rights, and he has more. He's the leader of the country. He should be speaking out when he thinks things are wrong or things ought to be done to fix things he thinks are wrong. At the same time, though, it shouldn't be too much to ask that he respect the First Amendment rights of others.
The demanding job that reporters have every day already has potential to be dangerous enough in some places. Is the White House becoming one of those places?
Reporters who cover the president, they're in this pen at these rallies, and he derides them, and he whips up the crowd to turn around and scream at them and threaten them and all of that.
Don't be rude. Us. Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude. No, I'm not going to give you a question. I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
There was this guy in Montana, Greg Gianforte, who is now the congressman from Montana, who beat up a reporter from The Guardian. The reporter was not doing anything wrong. He was just asking the guy questions. You listen to the tape, he's not being provocative, he's not being crazy, he's not being angry, and Gianforte goes off on him. And I think because we are now in this era of permissiveness, and if the president keeps going down this path, I really fear that a journalist could get badly hurt or killed.
Doing journalism in oppressive regimes can be incredibly dangerous.
You can't make anybody happy sometimes, and that's how I feel. But as long as I feel comfortable and that I'm covering the stories accurately, that's what matters most.
Calling established news organizations fake news because they're writing stories they don't like. And I think that's having an impact on the public. I think so far that strategy may be working in undermining the public's confidence in the press.
We, even at a small place like Inside Climate News, we are being treated differently than before Trump was elected. And because I think what he does is he validates he validates certain opinions, and he opens the gates to certain kinds of behavior because he participates in them.
On February 3rd, the president tweeted, "Thank you to Prime Minister of Australia for telling the truth about our very civil conversation that fake news media lied about." Very nice. But we now know from the leak last week of the transcript in the Washington Post that the president did not have a civil conversation with the Australian Prime Minister. He told him, quote, "I have had it. I have been making these calls all day, and this is the most unpleasant call all day. Putin was a pleasant call. This is ridiculous."
In December 2017, Trump declared a Washington Post reporter should be fired after jokingly tweeting a picture at one of his rallies. Seems a little extreme. The Post has also been one of the sources he has accused frequently of fake news in response to many things, including their investigation on Russia's involvement in the 2016 election. But who knows? He may have good reason to. Remember the Nixon Watergate scandal? The Post started covering that in 1972. And we all know how that ended up 2 years later.
Say you're reading an article, okay? And it's from something called the Denver Current. You're like, what is the Denver Current? And start looking into it. Well, there was, I don't know if it was the Current, but there was a paper that, this was like a fake newspaper that had been set up. And it was like the Denver, let's call it the Denver Journal or something like that. And it looked like a real website, real newspaper, and it had these articles. And the Denver Post, which is the real traditional newspaper of Denver said, this is not a Denver paper, right? It is not like a startup. It is not a free newspaper. It doesn't exist. Like, this is a fake news site.
To be clear, there's always been fake news. The National Enquirer has been printing for decades. But it's the availability of it and the social media, Facebook, and things like that that have really made it so much more accessible. And also the inability or the unwillingness of people to distinguish between fake news and real news. And so I think people go where they will get their beliefs and positions reinforced. They don't want to be challenged. They want to just have somebody tell them that what their position is on a whole host of issues, whether it's abortion or climate change. They just want to go somewhere that they'll get their position reinforced.
It was much easier when I was a teenager because you had trusted sources. When WikiLeaks published these hacked emails from her campaign, somehow, this notion came up that the Clinton campaign, including Hillary Clinton herself, were involved in this underground child sex ring. And it sounds ludicrous to us, but so many people believed it, that a man believed in this so much that he drove up from North Carolina and he shot up Comet Ping Pong, and thank goodness nobody was hurt.